Welcome to this explainer. We are diving into what is literally a monumental shift in international football today. I mean, the whistle is blown, the dust is finally settled on the 2026 World Cup, and for the Portuguese national team, we're looking at the end of a truly historic era. So we're going to break down the current state of this unbelievably talented squad following their heartbreaking exit and map out exactly how they plan to rise from the ashes and rebuild. Okay, let's dive into this. 91. That is the exact minute everything changed for Portugal in Dallas. It was in 91st minute stoppage time dagger by Spain's Mikel Merino that just abruptly ended Portugal's 2026 World Cup run. After such a grueling, tightly contested match in the round of 16, that single moment of brilliant execution by Spain completely shattered Portugal's ultimate objective. And as we'll see, it instantly triggered a massive transition for the entire team. To really wrap our heads around the sheer scope of this transformation, here's our roadmap for today. First, the Dallas heartbreak. Second, end of an era. Third, a new voice in charge. Fourth, the post-Ronaldo horizon. And finally, the road to 2030. Section 1. The Dallas heartbreak. The catalyst for a massive transition. So, what actually went wrong out there on the pitch? Well, it really came down to tactical neutralization. Spain deployed this highly structured, incredibly disciplined counter-pressing system. And what this did was literally suffocate Portugal's creative midfield engine. You had the Paris Saint-Germain duo, Vitinha and Jean-Yves, and they just couldn't find the space to dictate the tempo like they usually do. And because that midfield was shut down, the attack became completely isolated, which allowed Spain to just grind out that 1-0 victory. Section 2. End of an era. The departure of legends. So the crucial point is the massive leadership and tactical vacuum this Dallas exit created. At 41 years old, after pushing his body to just unmatched levels of longevity, Cristiano Ronaldo confirmed that this was his final World Cup. His farewell was deeply emotional, but also incredibly resolute. He said, "I leave here with a clear conscience. Tomorrow will be another day and life goes on." He actually took a moment to remind the world that, before his era, Portugal had never won a major trophy, pointing back to that legendary 2016 European Championship as the ultimate peak. And let's be real, Ronaldo's statistical legacy is just unmatched. We are talking about 6 different World Cup appearances. He scored in all but this final one, though. He did manage to net a really crucial knockout goal against Croatia in the round of 32, 146 international goals, 976 career goals. I mean, it's mind-blowing. He leaves the World Cup stage as a true icon of world soccer. But that means filling his shoes is for sure structurally and culturally going to be the biggest challenge Portugal has faced in a generation. But here's the thing, Ronaldo isn't the only departure. Literally right after the match, head coach Roberto Martinez announced he was stepping down after 3.5 years in charge. And it's a super fascinating exit, actually, because Martinez had a really successful run. He won the 2025 Nations League and had an incredible qualifying record. But he was hired with one singular mandate: win the World Cup. So without achieving that, he felt there was just no point in continuing, which basically allowed the Federation to start a brand new cycle from scratch. Section 3. A new voice in charge. The Jorge Jesus era? And this brilliantly illustrates the crossroads they're at. With the tactical slate totally wiped clean, we are anticipating a massive shift in philosophy. Under Roberto Martinez, Portugal utilized a very pragmatic vertical system that heavily relied on a single focal point in the attack. But Jorge Jesus, who the Portuguese Football Federation is currently in advanced negotiations with, represents something completely different. He brings a fluid, high-intensity, decentralized pressing system. It's aggressive, it's highly expressive, and it demands the kind of collective fighting spirit that a lot of fans felt was just missing against Spain. So, who exactly is Jorge Jesus? Well, he's a 71-year-old veteran Portuguese tactician with a genuinely brilliant club resume. We're talking massive success at Benfica, Sporting, and Flamengo. And interestingly enough, he recently won the Saudi Pro League managing none other than Cristiano Ronaldo at Al Nassr. So he knows exactly how to navigate massive egos and expectations, which adds this really great layer of irony to him potentially leading the post-Ronaldo era. But here is the catch. He has never coached a national team. International football means way less training time and a need for immediate results. It's a completely different beast. Section 4. The post-Ronaldo horizon. Integrating the youth pipeline. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer quality waiting in the wings to support an undisputed striker like Gonçalo Ramos. Just look at this pipeline. In the midfield, you've got Vitinha and João Neves, both at PSG, dictating the tempo and providing this elite box-to-box engine. Out wide, you have 19-year-old Giovanni Quenda from Chelsea bringing explosive speed and crossing. And underneath the strikers, FC Porto's 18-year-old Rodrigo Moura offers the exact kind of low center of gravity, creative vision Portugal desperately needs between the lines. The overarching strategy here is shifting away from relying on individual brilliance. It's really about building a modern, cohesive, high-pressing collective. They're going to lean heavily on that PSG midfield engine room for control. They'll unleash dynamic wingers like AC Milan's Rafael Leao to just stretch defenses. And they'll utilize players like Chelsea's Dario Esugo, who offers these elite, press-resistant ball recovery skills to protect the backline. Basically, it's a complete structural modernization of the squad. Let's move to Section 5 and see how this builds. The road to 2030. The timeline for the new empire. The absolute most crucial factor in this entire transition is the timeline. Starting this September, Portugal hits the Nations League. Then in 2028, it's the Euros. But the real prize? Summer 2030, the FIFA World Cup. Because Portugal is co-hosting that tournament with Spain and Morocco, they get automatic qualification. And this is huge. It creates a multi-year, low-pressure buffer. Think about it. The incoming manager doesn't have to sweat through some grueling qualifying cycle. Instead, they have the absolute luxury of time to safely integrate all this young talent and really perfect these new tactics. Which leaves us with the ultimate question as we wrap up this explainer. With the absolute legends of the past moving on, a tactical mastermind potentially stepping in, a golden generation of youth emerging, and the rare luxury of time to prepare, can a post-Ronaldo Portugal finally win their first World Cup and do it on home soil in 2030? It is going to be a fascinating 4 years. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep your eyes on this Portuguese side because they are just getting started.